Man, I'm really surprised about the fact that we're sitting down here and we're making this particular video in December of 2022. Let's go over to the Ottawa Senators and talk about a guy that was supposed to be the next great one. Supposed to be the guy to come in here and start dominating the score sheet, putting up goals left, right, and center, and a guy that a lot of people were super excited for because this would be the ultimate sniper, playing alongside of a guy like Tim Stützle, a guy who has established himself as one of the better goal scorers in the league, and he was going over to Ottawa and he was going to make an impact. Let's talk about Alex DeBrincat, because when it comes to the way he has been performing so far, if you're not watching any of these Ottawa games, you might go out there and say, oh, Lego, what are you talking about? What do you mean, what's wrong with Alex DeBrincat? The guy is on pace for 64 total points on the year. That's not that bad. I mean, he's producing at the very least, right? And while that may be the case, the hard, cold numbers may indicate a player that is actually producing at a pretty okay rate, the fact is, when it comes to Alex DeBrincat and the way that he's been playing so far in Ottawa, there will be many Sens fans who will go out there and criticize what we have seen so far, because when it comes to the expectations versus reality part of it, Alex DeBrincat, plain and simple, has been disappointing this year. Let's set up the context before we go over into some material here. DeBrincat is 24 years old, 5'7", 165 as a right-handed goal scorer, primarily playing on the left wing in Chicago. He was a guy that was an absolute stud alongside of Patrick Kane. And ever since making his debut with the team in 2017-2018, DeBrincat showed off that, hey, even though there were issues with mobility, there were issues with his pace and his translatability of his talent because he was so good at goal scoring in the OHL, but he was only 5'7", it didn't matter because at the top level in the world, he still went out there and had a rookie season getting 52 points in 82 games played. The season after that, he posted up 40 goals and 76 total points, which was a crazy good year for the youngster in the National Hockey League. Give it a few more seasons, and sure, there was a down year in there in 2019-20 that he had to go through, but in the final two seasons that DeBrincat spent as a member of the Blackhawks, he had 56 points in 52 games played in 2020-2021, including 32 goals. And last year, the guy had 78 points and 40 goals once again in a full 82-game year. Needless to say, this was a guy that was going out there and he was absolutely lethal. He could whip pucks on goal, his shot was pinpoint accurate, he just knew how to find dangerous areas, and playing alongside of a guy like Patrick Kane, one of the best playmakers the NHL has ever seen, there was a lot of fear in opponents' and defensemen's eyes when they saw Alex DeBrincat going out there on the power play. This was an absolutely lethal sniper, and when the Ottawa Senators made the trade to get DeBrincat at the 2022 NHL Entry Draft, trading away their 7th overall pick and a little bit more to get the expiring RFA forward, a lot of Sens fans went out there and said, hey, this is going to be crazy good. I mean, DeBrincat could be a back-to-back 40-goal scorer alongside of Josh Norris. You're still going to have Brady Tkachuk there too, not to mention Claude Giroux, whom the team picked up as well. The Sens are loading up. This is the summer of Dorian, baby, and Alex DeBrincat is supposed to be the big fish. However, even though he had 40 goals last season, and he's been a pretty good goal scorer throughout the entirety of his NHL career, this year, in 24 games played, DeBrincat only has 6 goals. And in fact, he's got 13 assists in the process too, so he's at 19 points on pace for a 64-point year, as we had said. But if you go over to DeBrincat and his overall statistical profile, you could see that on this season, the guy's shooting at a 7% shooting percentage, which is half of his total career's worth of shooting percentage. If you take a look at the averages right here, DeBrincat had a 15% shooting percentage in his rookie year when he had 28 goals. In his first year getting 40 goals, he had an 18.6% shooting percentage. The down year wherein he only scored 18 saw him shoot at 8.7%. The other 30-goal season he had in the shortened year, he had a 20.6% shooting percentage, which is absolutely nuts. And last year, he had a 15.2. This season has been absolutely terrible for those looking for Alex DeBrincat goals, and I'm one of them. I'm not making this video because I'm salty that I took this guy in one of the top picks of my fantasy draft with Hot Take Hockey, Audie James, and a few other hockey YouTubers whom you might know, because DeBrincat has been one of my main guys, and he hasn't been scoring any goals. Sure, he gets points once in a while, but man, the guy has not been scoring all too much, and it's been hurting my fantasy team, unfortunately. In fact, if you go over to this graphic posted onto TSN, take a look at what Lalimes Marchand went out there and posted. Cold spell. Here are the recent scoring slumps that the Ottawa Senators are experiencing. DeBrincat, at the time of recording this audio, has 1 goal in his last 9 games. Shane Pinto, 1 goal in his last 12. Drake Batherson has 1 goal in his last 10. It's only really Stützle, Giroux, and Tkachuk who are the offensive contributors on this team. Furthermore, here's a tweet from Derek Lee. He covers the Sens, he does a lot of Sens stuff, and he's also a prospect analyst on Future Watch TV. We showcase his tweets once in a while because I feel like he does a good job at exploring Senators-related discourse. If you've only watched Alex DeBrincat play hockey this season, you'd come away thinking he is one of the worst shooters in the entire gosh darn league. And Lego, why is this even really a big deal? Why do you have to go out there and make this entire hate speech video about Alex DeBrincat? Well, part of the reason this is even being conversed about is because DeBrincat, as we had said, he is an expiring RFA to be. And he's making 6.4 AAV right now until the end of 2023. He's 24, turning 25 years old. And by the time that contract expires, he's going to be going through a tedious RFA contract negotiation process. And if you have an agent that is going out there and saying, hey, my client is a consistent 30, 40 goal guy, he just had a down year, take a look at the body of work he had before coming over to Ottawa, there's a lot of value that you could debate should be discussed when it comes to a DeBrincat contract re-signing. Back when the Sens acquired DeBrincat, there was debate as to whether or not they should go out there and extend the guy immediately, give him $8 or $9 million a year. This is what Sean Simpson said on Twitter. DeBrincat does some nice things on the offensive side from the outside, but the rest of his game isn't worth $9 million. Here's another tweet that I wanted to talk about. This is from Everyday Sens. They actually have a few interesting tweets when it comes to DeBrincat and the situation over here. They're replying to a comment made by Brody Fallon. The whole forward core outside of Stützle, Brady, and Giroux has been awful lately. Everyday Sens says, I don't disagree. DeBrincat and Batherson have been alright, but that line can't sustain any pressure with the puck. It's always one forward attacking and turning the puck over. Any offensive zone time ends in a perimeter shot by Travis Hamonic, which ends up being blocked. Here's a crazy idea. Why don't you try Stützle with DeBrincat? Crazy, I know. The two have played 36-40 together at 5v5 this season. DeBrincat played over 55 minutes with Josh Norris, who got injured after 5 games. I say this because people are once again reverting to slandering DeBrincat. He's one of the only players who actually enters the zone with control. He then has nowhere to pass the puck to because his line mates coast in with no sense of where to be. What else can DeBrincat do? He's not going to deke through the entire team. He needs somewhere to pass the puck, and Stützle is the only Sen who knows how to find space. Now, towards the end of yesterday's game, I should have actually clarified this. DeBrincat got himself an assist, so he's actually at 20 points in 25 games right now. Unfortunately, Elite Prospects at the time of recording this audio did not update their statistical profile, but still, I mean, if you do 20 divided by 25 multiplied out by 82, or excuse me, 81, because he's on pace for 81 total games played, he's on pace for about 65 points, which is roughly in the same territory as we had talked about just a few minutes ago. Everyday Sens went out there and said this is Alex DeBrincat's career point totals through 24 games in his first 6 years of NHL play. In 2017-18, he had 18 points in his first 24 games. 2019, the year after that, he had 18 again. The season after, 19 points. In 2021, he had 29 points. 2022, he had 19 points. And in 2023, he had 19 once again. He finished 2 of those seasons with more than 75 points, and the pandemic season at over a point per game. The point of this is to set an example for people who expect a little too much. It's almost encouraging to see him producing at the same rate as he did previously, despite struggling to finish his chances. That should change at some point. He has been inches away from several goals. I, too, am frustrated by DeBrincat's inability to finish right now. I just think it'll change, because that is what previous numbers tell us will happen. Now, I don't know if this necessarily is too much of a cause for concern because he is shooting at a much lower goal rate than the majority of these seasons that he has had, but then again, you take a look at the shooting percentages, this kind of aligns with the 18-goal season he had in 2019-20, where he still almost got 20 goals. I mean, he finished with 18 that season, but then again, the shooting percentage was indeed as low as it is right now. So for Alex DeBrincat, the guy definitely has been going through a little bit of a slump when it comes to his goal scoring, but at the end of the day, he still is producing quite well when it comes to cold, hard points alone. Tell me in the comments your thoughts whether or not you're concerned, you think he'll bounce back, where do you think the future lies with DeBrincat, either in Ottawa or elsewhere? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this Juraj 9, and bye.